Welcome into the call-up. I am Jillian Sakovitz, joined by Susanna Collins. Hey!
What up, girl?
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm so good. I feel like I'm ready to just crush another week here, you know? Let's go. Let's go.
Our guest today, I think, he gave us life. So I think you're really going to all really enjoy this interview. We talked to FC Cincinnati center back, the man, Kendall Waston. We find out why he slaps his teammates in the face, how he and his wife keep the fire alive.
Indeed.
And the goal celebration that was behind a challenging time for the Waston family, and kind of the story behind what became an iconic moment in FC Cincinnati history.
Yeah.
What was really going on. Kendall Waston keeping it real today on the call-up.
It was it's a bit of an emotional roller coaster today, y'all. So buckle up because you're going to enjoy it. It's really fun. So there's something we need to address, Jill, because last week you dropped a bomb on me that, I wasn't expecting.
I didn't want to do that to you.
I know. But Jillian revealed to me that she put on jeans.
You're in trouble when you're called Jillian.
Yeah, exactly. Jillian Lee Sakovitz put on jeans. People and
for Mother's Day, I wanted my mom to think I was changing regularly. I was trying to be like, okay, Mom.
This cut deep as an ardent member of Team Sweatpants. So we decided to put up a poll on our call-up Twitter handle to see if y'all were Team Buttons or Team Sweatpants, and we have the results of those polls right here, Jill.
So no surprise Team Sweats won, but I was surprised by how little Team Sweats won. I thought it'd be 99-1.
Yeah, the percentages here were a little surprising. 36% Team Buttons, 64% Team Sweatpants, which what is wrong with y'all? Team Buttons, come on.
Can I come back to Team Sweats?
Yes, there is always room for you on this side of the team.
I'll even prove my loyalty.
Yes. Oh, actually, I'm going to take this moment to showcase.
We are showcasing our sweats
to all of you that are listening. We talked about quarantine purchases.
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening.
You can kind of see. I bought Chicago Red Stars joggers, and they are so cool. They've got the 4 red stars from the Chicago flag and the badge on there, and they're super comfy.
So their jerseys won, kind of like the 2020 unveil of the NWSL.
Again, quarantine purchases that I don't need, but I love. So it's, whatever gets you through, whatever it takes.
Here for that. Thank you so much for letting me back into the club. I apologize for that decision that I made on May 10th.
Don't do it again.
It was out of character, and I will never, ever, ever do it again. This weekend, and so many more weekends to come, have us feeling real good. Heck yes.
Can I
because
tell you,
soccer braced our television.
This was the best weekend that I have had in quarantine. Yes, and for several reasons.
I agree.
One, because it was actually nice out here. The weather was decent in New York, so that was really good. And 2, Bundesliga is back, baby. And I woke up on a Saturday morning, Jill, and I put my TV on and I put my FS1 on.
And you weren't mad about getting up at 9, right? You're like,
no, I wasn't.
Whatever.
I had my coffee. This is my typical weekend routine. And it just felt so good to watch an actual match that mattered. It was a legitimate match, and it was happening at that moment, and it filled me with such joy I can't even explain. It was so great.
For those of you that did or did not see it, the scenes were really something that we're going to look back on and be like, wow, we lived that. There were guys, the teams had to come out of separate entrances. There wasn't that moment of the guys kind of filing out together and the official grabbing the ball. Guys had masks on, kind of through these hallways, and less cameramen means kind of these funny, almost like security camera angles. So it was all so new, but it was emotional to be like, this is the time we're living in. Yeah. The Bundesliga, leave it to the Germans, have made a master plan. If you look on Twitter, kind of their guide to coming back is the most scientific, intense thing I've ever seen in terms of what the rules and regulations were. And while it was different, it was welcomed. And I really, really enjoyed seeing how the players reacted. We've seen teams in empty stadia before, but knowing what the circumstances was different. But it only took a few minutes to be like, okay, this is the situation. We're still fans. We're on Twitter. And for me as a sideline reporter, I do get to hear at times what the guys are saying, trash talking to each other on the field. But from a broadcast perspective, unless a guy really screams something and he gets next to the right speaker, you don't hear a lot of what's going on down on the pitch. So to kind of hear the yelling and the cursing and all the different languages, it was a welcomed new look. I'll take it.
I didn't mind. We can't ignore the fact that there weren't any fans in place, and that is because of all the safety protocols that we have to adhere to. But it was different. Of course it's different. We are used to seeing supporters there, but I didn't feel like it took away from my enjoyment of what was actually happening on my screen. And in a way, in a strange sort of way, it made me a lot more locked in to the actual play and what was happening on the field, and watching these intricate runs or scoring chances. I was so dialed into what was happening on the field, the conversations that were happening amongst the players. You could hear the referees as well. I mean, it was different, but it not in a bad way. You know, like for me, I was totally fine with it. And there was a moment that really just I don't know. It made me emotional, if I'm completely honest. I was watching Borussia Dortmund, and at the end of their match, they went to their wall where typically it is packed to the gills with supporters in gold and black, and there's nobody there. And the players all stood and applauded and just kind of honoring, honoring the fans that couldn't be there, and
they know they're out there.
They know they're out
loud
there
and proud,
and watching and hanging on to every single second of this, because we've all been missing it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was just such a beautiful moment, and one of those moments where, you know, we keep hearing the saying, we're all in this together, and that sort of moment when you see it like that on your screen, it just drives it home. And it was really powerful. I loved it. And so while this is not what we are used to, like I said, it didn't take away for me the enjoyment of just watching soccer. And it's a different way that we're going to be watching it for a while. But you guys, it felt so darn good. It just felt so good.
Amen. Well, while the pageantry is gone, the product that we know and love is there. And that's the first step, and it's super important. Someone else taking steps, CJ Sapong, locking down his lady love.
Oh, good friend of the show.
He told us a little bit about her in his very, very, very candid, open, and honest interview that he did with us a couple weeks ago on the Call Up. So if you missed that, go listen to it. But he talked about a special lady out in California.
Who is a nurse.
Him unveiling this weekend that they got engaged. So congratulations.
Did you see that ring that he put on
CJ to find
on her finger?
So giant rock.
She must have. I'm assuming that she made the trip. She lives out on the West Coast in California, and she must have come to visit CJ in Chicago, because this is what was posted on his Instagram. But this ring, okay, it was a fairly large size center stone that was almost like a turquoise color with it looked like two triangular shaped diamonds on the side. But this thing was massive. CJ. I know, but I was like, dang, all right. He's really, really locking it down. But he talks so highly of her, and they seem to have such a special relationship. And he is such a lovely friend of the show. So we're very, very happy for CJ Sapong and his lovely, lovely lady.
Congratulations. Suze, I feel like I should be congratulating you in a way, because you posted a picture. Even though you did it 20 years ago, you posted a picture standing with Phil Jackson, the Zen master. And while it's not soccer related, The Last Dance wrapped up, and Twitter was very, very, very sad about it. But you're a Chicago gal, and you lived the dynasty. Did you really relive those those moments.
Every
I mean, the
moment.
whole world was, but it really had to hit home for you.
Every single moment. And I said this in my post. I mean, for me growing up in Chicago during that time is something that I will never, ever, ever take for granted, because it solidified my love of sports. Being able to watch Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, all the greats, like a coach like Phil Jackson. It was just so instrumental in my love of sports and competition. And what I loved too about watching this documentary was that there's a lot of things that go over your head as a kid, like kind of all the maybe the internal conflicts that, which is good. I think as a kid, you don't necessarily want to be privy to some of
you're
the
like,
ugliness.
Jordan just dunked. Yes.
Exactly.
Happy days.
But watching it through adult eyes, and especially now having worked in sports for, the last like over 10 years, it's really, really eye-opening to kind of see it through a different lens. But it just took me right back to those years of just literally being glued to your television set. My the picture that I posted, my dad was actually a college teammate of Phil Jackson at University of North Dakota, and he would arrange these reunions for all his teammates in Chicago. And so my dad would go, and he would bring me and my brother with, and so I got to meet Phil and chat with him and try on the ring, when I was like 13 years old. I mean, it was just, but it was just it was so huge, because even then I knew how big a deal it was. But this was such an incredible journey, an incredible job of storytelling done by ESPN. And I am so sad it's over, but I'm like, you know what? I'm probably going to go back and rewatch this maybe a couple times during quarantine. Why not?
We talk about soccer coming back. And while MLS is in the works and we'll find out more about MLS, I think the Bundesliga coming back solidified that I want to start to get my soccer self back. Now, I'd love to get my hair done, but that's not safe or permitted right now where I am. So that is not happening until it's allowed, and that is okay. But did you know that Bluetooth scales exist?
What?
Now, when I think of a scale, I think about a scale that is at my parents' house, and it's been there for 30 years. And I just step on it, and I'm like, maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right, and I just convince myself of whatever it is. I Googled scales, like one of these 2 a.m. things that you just do. But there's for like $30 on Amazon, there's a Bluetooth scale. And I'll tell you, it just tracks it on your phone. So if you start, no, you start now. You start now because you don't know. So you start now. And then it's like happy days because you're like, oh, I'm going to have the smoothie. I'm going to do this. So like you're setting the bar low.
Oh God.
You start now, you Bluetooth it. So you don't have to like remember it and this, that. It literally saves on your phone. And Suze, it's like starting.
Jill, you are talking to a girl who is still afraid of putting jeans on because
Suze, but you're starting now is my point. Like you don't have the numbers from the Bluetooth from a month ago or 2 months ago. And it kind of gives you like focus, like, okay, I'm getting my soccer self back. Now for you and I, that doesn't mean that much.
I don't know if I'm ready for it. I don't know if I'm ready for it. It's like, oh God, quarantine has just, I mean, it's one of these things where like, I don't think, like I've had days where I've like eaten pretty poorly, but then I've had days where I eat very healthy too.
Yeah.
And there are days when I work out. And so I it's probably not like, I in my head, I'm like, oh my God, I've gained all this weight. And I probably haven't.
But that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, just do it. But the mental part helped. Do it. Get it now. We're all not in our best physical, mental shape at all. But you get it now while the bar's low. And like, everyone's starting to get back in life. So like, it's only up from here is how I feel.
Gosh. Oh gosh, the pressure. I don't know.
You're not here for it.
I gotta think about this one.
You're not here for it.
Mentally, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to confront it full on, but maybe I'll get there.
Everyone has their own quarantine journey. All right. And it's a party when we are so excited to welcome Costa Rican international, 7th year in Major League Soccer, and the inaugural captain of FC Cincinnati, defender Kendall Waston.
Woo! Yes.
That sounds good, right?
We were talking earlier, but you have been on our wish list for quite a long time as one of our guests that we were so desperate to get on this podcast. So thank you so much for finally making it happen. We're so excited.
I'm excited as well.
It's a little bit different now. Usually we've been talking to our guests that have been like, oh my gosh, I've been in my apartment, my house for 6 weeks. Finally, FC Cincinnati is one of the teams that has been out and about and training for a few days now. Kendall, how are you feeling? How has that been?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me in your podcast. I'm feeling great right now because, as you said, we are now at training facilities. So finally, we are getting in touch with the ball and in our ground. And well, just seeing our teammates touching the ball, getting out from your home is been great. So yes, just excited to see when this will start again.
How are you feeling physically, Kendall, right now? Like, what's your fitness factor at the moment?
I would say 80%, not 100, because it's not the same training at home, especially mentally, mental wise, because you try to do everything, all the programs and those things, but it's never gonna be the same. And like being in touch in the field with the physical trainers with that pressure, it forces you to run and do everything 100%.
Before we get to a little bit more just about you and your career and your family, we have to ask you, we learned that your mother is a healthcare worker in New York. She contracted coronavirus. How is she and how is she feeling?
Well, thanks God, now she is great. Like 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, she was finally good because at the beginning, obviously, it was really hard. Her boss got infected and four of her colleagues as well. So she was in quarantine 2 weeks, and at her third week, she got all the symptoms. So she was like really surprised because everybody was talking about like the first 2 weeks you're gonna get symptoms, but she got it at her third week. So it was like difficult at the beginning. She didn't tell me anything. She told my families that don't tell me nothing because she didn't want me to worry about her. So when she told me, she was getting recover. She was getting better and better, and now she is fine.
We are so happy to hear that. I can relate because
you.
I also had coronavirus in March, and the symptoms are different across the board, and that's what makes this thing so dangerous. I didn't have any of the flu-like symptoms. I had this whole list of other symptoms. But before we move on, we have to ask, where does your mom work and what does she do?
She's a nurse and she work in a clinic in Brooklyn.
Well, we thank her for her service.
I live in Brooklyn. I live in Brooklyn. So
thank you, Mama Waston.
Thank you, Mama Waston. And please tell her we are so appreciative of all the hard work that she is doing. And we're so happy to hear that she is recovered and feeling better. That's the news that we're here for. Okay. Let's talk some soccer now because we're all so excited. As you mentioned, you guys are back in training. We're taking these like one steps closer to what we're hoping is going to be normal. But you have had some pretty memorable moments in your career. You, of course, are a superstar for the Costa Rican national team. And let's go back to 2017. Yes. And you know where I'm going with this. The goal that you scored that essentially punched the ticket for the Ticos to go to the World Cup in 2018. How often do you get asked about this? Because obviously we want to talk about it, but is that a memory that you just kind of keep living over in your head over and over again?
Well, yes. Like when they ask me this question, is like bringing back those feelings, bringing back all the memories of that exact moment. And oh, my answers are always pretty much the same. It's like that feeling. I would love to have that feeling every single day again. Because it's a unique feeling, so much happiness, so much joy in that day, that is almost impossible to forget about it.
It was such a beautiful moment, an
Mhm.
iconic goal. And then, it was so touching to see Costa Rica go again to the World Cup. And I know that that meant a lot for you. What did 2018 and that World Cup journey mean for you?
Oh, a lot, because I didn't make it to go to the previous World Cup to Brazil. So it was like all the struggle, all the hard work that I was putting in, because I didn't want to miss another World Cup. So at the end, when we made it to Russia, it was like, that feeling that, oh yes, I'm gonna get my dream come true, and all those happiness going through, and you are also thinking like, well, all the hard work is paying off.
So on one of the interesting things about that particular goal that you scored to send Costa Rica to the World Cup is that
Yeah.
it played very heavily in the United States.
Yes.
Their failure to make
Ugh.
the World Cup, and I
Not as
believe,
iconic.
and it was goals from you, and then I believe Roman Torres for Panama,
Roma, yeah.
two MLSers that essentially like crushed the hopes
Makes it
and
a little
dreams
easier.
for America. So while you guys were celebrating, us here in the States were kind of, a little bit devastating. But do you ever talk to some of your teammates and guys in the league that were a part of that
Yes,
USA team, and what that the difference in emotions there?
yes, at the moment, like, I especially I was talking with Tim Parker. He was happy with me, and at the same time, they was like, man, you guys leave us out.
So those are the moments that we all think about when we think about Kendall Waston and your international career. Is there a moment that stands out to you that maybe doesn't make the headlines? Is there a favorite Costa Rican moment for you?
Ooh, like, one of my special moments as well was the goal I scored in Honduras, because we was losing 1-0, and that goal make us draw the game. So, like, getting that draw in Honduras is massive, massive for us, because it helped us as well to continue like in the first places. So I think that was, and my first goal for my national team. So was a great one.
Oh, love it. All goals are good goals. All
Yes.
right, let's talk FC Cincinnati for a
Mhm.
moment. Kendall, I had the pleasure of being the sideline reporter on FS1 for what was FC Cincinnati's first ever game in Major League Soccer at Seattle. And we sat around a big table and we got to
Uh-huh.
talk to you and Alan Koch at the time and some other people about that game the day before. And you were your usual high energy, smiley self. And I had done all my research and I was so excited to talk to you. And one of the questions I asked you was about your Costa Rican fellow, Alan Cruz, the
Yeah.
youngster. And I said, hey, Kendall, I've heard you've really taken Alan under your wing, that you're like a brother to him. And you stopped me and you said, and I was like, oh my gosh, what did I say? And you go, I'm not his brother. I'm his daddy. And I was like, yes.
You were like, whew.
Okay. All right. We're on the same page. Can you just tell us kind of, it was such a good story. And to this day, whenever FC Cincinnati is coming to town at an Atlanta United game or whatever it is, I remember that because it's so unique. Can you kind of tell us about when Alan Cruz came and the things that you had to do for him?
Oh yes, I remember, like, first of all, like, helping him with his bank account, like going to the ATM and take out money, all the translation when he want to draw out money from the cashier, um, paying his bills from his apartment, his water bills, his
Oh
gas
my
bill,
God.
like telling him like every single thing because he didn't know how to read or to talk on the phone with the people in charge, you know. So I was helping him in all of those things, and I I didn't have a bad time doing that. I was enjoying it because I know what it is to go and live by yourself, especially in another country, another language. And he didn't have a clue what they was talking about, you know. So I just tried to be his dad in that moment.
He needed a little hand holding. You're a good
Yeah.
guy to go to. So, Kendall, you mentioned, having gone to different countries and
Hmm.
played. You are so well traveled in your career. You have played in Costa Rica, Uruguay, Puerto Rico, Canada, and
Yeah.
now here you are in Cincinnati. You're sort of in the heart of America. What has Cincinnati and living there and the move there? What has that been like for you and your family?
Well, is it has been a great experience. Why? Because it's the first time we live in a house. We usually just live in an apartment. So that was like the first experience we was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we gotta find a house because my son is growing up. Because when we was in Vancouver, even in Costa Rica, like he liked to play soccer every single day. So the people below us in the apartment, they was complaining about the noise he was making. So now living at a house, we're not gonna have that problem anymore. So that is one of the great things
Yes.
in Cincinnati, that we have a house and we have a backyard, and as well that, like, I don't know, but the healthcare that we have here has been great, especially
Yeah.
because at the beginning of last year, my son got a bad disease that he couldn't walk.
Oh
So
my
the
goodness.
the children hospital like help us incredible, and well, thanks God he start to walk again,
Oh,
and wow, like everything from that start from the day we start to live in Cincinnati, we say, well, God knows why He brought us here.
that's beautiful.
A
And I'm so
Yeah.
glad your
house,
son's okay. Oh my
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
goodness.
thank God. A house is so important. House came at the right time for quarantine, right?
Oh, totally.
Jeez
Totally.
Louise.
I'll
And
be
you,
I'll be crazy like in an apartment right now.
Welcome
oh, you're
welcome
talking
to
to
our
two gals
welcome to
in
our world.
apartments. Yeah, we know.
Yes.
You mentioned your son, Kasak, and
Yeah.
one, I want to point out that this kid has 10,000 followers on Instagram because I
What?
obviously looked at his Instagram before you came on. How old is he?
6 now.
Goals,
Yeah.
man. He's influenced some of your goal celebrations. There was
Mhm.
one that you scored in Cincinnati where you kind of moved around on the floor in a
Yeah.
circle. Can you tell us about what inspired that one and like what other dances or goal celebrations your son
Yes.
has inspired?
That one came because as how I was telling you guys, he couldn't walk. So in that process of his recovery, and like the willingness, like to wake up every single day to see how he gonna advance, and hoping like, okay, is he gonna crawl at least or not? Because he couldn't crawl, like he just like being in the floor like a snake, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really hard because he loved to play soccer and he couldn't walk to kick a ball. So we started to, I lay down in the floor with him and start to kick the ball, you know. So at least that was bringing him a little bit of joy. And after, like, before the game, we play in Cincinnati, our first home game. Like that week, he started to advance and recover a strange way that not even us know why. We took him to the hospital again, and the doctors didn't have an explanation, like what was going on. They didn't tell us like what was exactly happening to him. and he recovered like this. And that same week, he told me like, "Oh, Daddy, if you score, we gotta do this." And absolutely, I did it.
It's incredible. I mean, and the fact
What
that,
a
okay,
story.
this incredible story, and also the fact that that was the first goal scored for Cincinnati at Nippert Stadium. I mean, it's all, I have goosebumps all over my body. What a beautiful, beautiful story. And I love so much that your son inspired that and is a part of what is ultimately a historic moment for the
Mhm.
club. That is really, really special, Kendall. Thank you so much for sharing that.
So
Beautiful
Yeah.
happy he's
story.
okay. And they never figured out why?
No, like even though like after he start to walk, each month we have to take him to the children's hospital. So they make all the blood exams, all kind of exams, and there was like five nurses and doctors, and they was talking like they don't have a exact explanation to
Scary.
tell us like what was
Wow.
the disease or what was the something was happening. They didn't know what was it.
Oh my gosh. Well, as Jillian said, thank the Lord that he
Yeah.
is okay now. And I'm sure, is he back dancing? Is he going to inspire some more
Yeah.
goal celebrations for you?
Oh man, now he's dancing because he's playing video games like Fortnite, and now he's with these songs and dancing, and I was this kid. I remember before I used to complain like, "Oh, be quiet, stop running around." Now I say, "Do whatever you
Do
want."
whatever you want. Free
Nice.
reign.
Until you're a
Free reign.
teenager.
Wait,
Yeah.
Jillian, I'm teeing you up for this question because Kendall just mentioned that his son is playing video games.
Yeah.
And Jillian has a very interesting video game question to ask you specifically, Kendall, that we were chatting.
All right,
Really?
this is coming from two people that don't play FIFA really, right?
Okay.
But
I don't play FIFA.
I was talking to my significant other last night about how I am having Kendall Waston on, and he's like, I've had him in FIFA. He goes, but I need you to ask him for me. Why do they give him such a bad pace on FIFA? It's not. So I looked it up, and you have the best FIFA rating, of course, of the defenders on FC Cincinnati. No total surprise there. But then your pace, they made your pace worse than all three goalkeepers. And
Yes.
I think that like
disrespect.
That's so disrespectful. They gave you a 44, Kendall. Have you talked to them about this?
No, but right now after we talk, I'm gonna email them.
Yes. Did you know?
I'm gonna make my complaint.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good. We're glad we've given you this platform to do that because Jillian alerted me to that, and I was like, "Well, that is just outrageous."
We are very upset about that.
So rude.
Do they know how many times you have to get back and defend? Like
you're tracking back all the time, Kendall.
Back and
we
forth.
see you. We
unacceptable.
See you. We see you. Well, something else that we see, Kendall, and we want to take it back to your family is you and your absolutely stunning wife, Priscila.
Yeah.
And you guys have started a podcast together. Oh, this is okay. This has just made my day. K-Sock.
He's
Hi,
like,
buddy.
this isn't Fortnite.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
Good.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Yeah. What have you been doing today?
He just wake up like 30 minutes ago. He went to sleep late. He's a good sleeper.
Good sleeper. We love
yes,
that.
and he liked to play Fortnite, right?
I love it. I was still in my pajamas too until we had to start this podcast. That's the quarantine look.
And it is raining, so I say it's okay.
Perfect
Stay with your
pajama day.
K-Sock. K-Sock, can you help your daddy with more goal celebrations?
Yes,
Can you teach him some?
Yeah.
Can you teach me some dances? Yeah?
Yeah, okay. We're going to be looking for that.
Kind of shy.
That's okay.
He is beautiful. He's such a beautiful boy.
Thank you.
Oh, you are welcome.
Bye.
Bye, K-Sock. Okay, well, that was just the highlight of my entire quarantine. My gosh. Kendall. He is amazing. He's amazing.
Thank you.
And so you and your wife, you have this beautiful son, Kasak, and then you guys are just, you have this incredible, the love that you have for each other and the love that you express for your wife and for each other on social media is honestly like one of the most beautiful things that we've seen, and we talk about it. And I just want to know, what is your secret? What's your secret to keeping that bond so strong and keeping it fresh and exciting and all
Keeping
of
the
that?
fire.
Yes.
The spice.
Well, both of us are really crazy. Like we are just natural, and like when I'm serious, she like to make her funny things, and you know, take out a smile from my off my face. And I think like she is the one like that is always thinking like, because I'm really relaxed. I always think that everything is good. So she is like, no, sometimes it's not good to think that, because we always have to think what we can make better for our relationship, you know? So like it's a lot of credit on her because she's the thinking one.
The
And
women
we, yes,
usually
and we
are.
try to do different things to keep like our marriage growing, because now that we have our son, sometimes at the beginning it was like 100% just thinking and talking about my son,
Yep.
and we forget our relationship. So we have a saying, she was telling me about like, our son doesn't need his parent together. He need his parents happy as well, because us being happy, we're gonna provide him, you know, what he wants, and he have his parents great. So we try to keep our fire there.
I love that.
I
Great
love
advice.
keeping the fire alive. How did you two meet? You're basically Costa Rican
Mhm.
royalty. She's a singer. You're a soccer player. Tell us, how did you guys find each other?
Well, we had a friend in common that he introduced us for the first time, and after that, we don't speak to him again. I don't know why,
Bye, thank
He
you.
but thank you.
served his purpose, exactly.
Yes, and I was living like 3 hours away from her, and I used to drive like 2, 3 times per week to just go and see her. Like we start dating 1 month, next month 3 months after we got engaged, 10 months we got married. So it was really quick.
Wow. When you know, you know.
Yes, she couldn't leave this handsome guy away, you know.
No, that's the secret.
Well, she told me when we were starting to date, she told me like, I'm not of those girls like I just want to date and date and date. If you are planning to stay with me, it's because
Mm-hmm.
you are planning to stay with me forever. And I was like, okay,
I
okay.
like that.
Challenge accepted. You liked that you're a competitive guy, so you like a
Yeah.
Yep.
little
Hmm.
challenge.
Oh, I dig Priscilla. She's
Yes, go Priscilla.
Priscilla is a strong woman. You guys now have a podcast
Yeah.
together. How did this come about, and what do you guys discuss on your podcast?
It started because we was talking about that we like to talk a lot, you know, especially my wife. So we always talk about different things. And now in quarantine, we was like, why we don't open a podcast and let people know how we are from the inside? Like, because it's different when you show like on social media what
Mm,
you want, because usually you just put happy moments, the nicest things, but people don't know like the reality, what is going on,
Yeah.
the struggles, the fights, you know, because as a marriage, as a couple, whatever, you always have difficult moments as well. So that is what we wanted to do, to make people know more about us from the inside.
I love it. And that podcast is called Los Waston Desde Adentro. So
Yes,
that
there's
means
the
like from
dentro
the
on the
inside.
inside. Yes, those the Western from the inside would be in English.
Okay. And you guys obviously do it in Spanish. Kendall, I have to tell you, your English is incredible.
Amazing.
I'm trying to practice in little by little.
When you can be funny in another language, you know the other language.
Exactly.
And I need to ask you, porque yo estoy aprendiendo español. How do you learn another language? It's really difficult, and I've been working on my Spanish so much, especially during quarantine, but it's very difficult.
Well,
how do you learn another language?
My English started because in Costa Rica, the town that I'm from is named Limon. Is in the Caribbean, and where you have more of the Afro-American people, more of the black people. So we speak like the Jamaican English.
Okay.
So when I was small, my first language was like the broken English, and after I learned Spanish. And after in high school, I have to learn the proper English with a proper pronunciation.
Wow, so you spoke English, Spanish, then English.
Correcto.
Muy bien.
Correcto.
Yes.
How do you think Jill's doing so far?
Muy bien.
In the little bit. Muy bien.
Muy bien.
See? Jill, keep it going. I'm impressed. I don't see
my accento.
But like 2 years ago in Vancouver, I was learning Mandarin. That was a hard one.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Casual, just learning Chinese?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Did you write the characters too?
No. Impossible.
Too much.
Impossible.
Too much. Oh, Kendall, one of the things we have to ask you, one of the things, it's like your signature, and I feel like it's a rite of passage to be at the receiving end.
Let me see.
We'll take a virtual one.
The Waston slap. The Waston slap. What is the origin of the Waston slap? How did this start?
I don't know when it starts. I just know that it started in a crazy moment. I think with Tim Parker, we were so excited. We were so, so happy, and we was pushing each other because we scored. And I slapped him. He slapped me back, and we was like, yeah, let's go. So after that every celebration, I was like, oh, boom. Boom.
Have you ever really hurt, do you think one guy, maybe some weaker teammate, you actually hurt him a little bit?
Yes, I think I'm being so happy, I don't measure my force.
Yeah.
So you're a big guy.
If I score, don't come near me, okay? Don't come near me.
Keep away. Kendall, you're one of the guys. You're such a good locker room guy. You're a leader. You're one of the guys that kind of keeps it light. And I know, it must be tough as somebody who's so team oriented to be in this situation right now with quarantine. And you're a guy that I know you've had guys over to your house for dinner. You cook for them.
Excuse me.
What are you? Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. The double. Oh, no. Okay, if you're listening to this, Kendall is showing us a picture of him and Tim Parker when they played for Vancouver, and they are both slapping each other, which looks pretty aggressive, to be honest.
Look at my nose. He almost broke my nose.
Tim Parker has some guts, man, slapping 6'5"
to be fair,
right
Tim Parker is a big guy as well.
Yeah,
so this is it was more that's an even fight, I feel.
Think?
Or more even. Kendall's still a little bigger. But when the situation is over and when you can have your teammates back over to your house, what do you like to make when you have these gatherings at your home for the guys?
Barbecue. I love barbecue. That is my happy moment. I'm having people and seeing everybody happy, enjoying themselves and eating as well. So that is my happy moment.
Of your teammates, who is the best guest and who's the worst guest?
Well, I bring a lot. Well, he come a lot is Greg Garza.
We love Greg Garza.
Yes.
Great guy.
I love him as well. But I can't say the worst. No, I don't have no worst. But yes, Greg is the one of the favorite guys.
Love it. Kendall, this was so fun. We can't wait to see you in person. But, you know, you have such a big personality. This was like hanging out in person. We appreciate you coming on so much.
Yeah.
And we
thank
can't
you,
wait to
Jack.
see you heading those balls,
Yes.
tossing some guys on the ground for us. Can't wait to see it all
Slapping
happening on the
some
pitch.
people.
Slapping some people.
Well, another week of fun here at Major League Soccer. It is MLS Jersey Week.
What?
Presented by Adidas.
Heck yes.
It all starts this week. You can still log on and check it out. So 26 jerseys are selected by each MLS club. 6 wildcard selections from classic football shirts. The bracket is out on MLSsoccer.com. It goes round to 32 to 16 quarterfinals, Final Four winner, and that is every day going on this week. So there's a lot of like social stuff going on.
Yeah.
Put on your favorite throwbacks or put on your favorite jersey. For Atlanta, you know what? This is a parlay kit. And it's from a couple years ago. And in Atlanta world, this is vintage. So there you go.
This is, I am sporting right now the Pride training top that all the teams put on, but Sporting Kansas City sent me this one. And I love this one because it has that kind of rainbow dot pattern on it, which is super, super cool. But
so throw your jerseys on.
Throw your jerseys on. And then on Friday, I think it's your favorite, it's like favorite kit Friday or something. So you should wear your favorite throwback and take a picture and post it on social media.
Yeah, you should.
Which is really fun. We also have some of our MLS Classics remix coming up. And this one is so much fun. This is the goal, basically going through the goals of the year from 1996 to 2019. So this is going to be Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and MLSsoccer.com. Andrew Wiebe, Charlie Davies, Jimmy Conrad, Mike McGee, Marcelo Balboa, and Brian Ching. Like, what a lineup. All of these
I want to go to that party.
I know. All of these guys are going to be commenting on the goals of the year from that stretch. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm hearing in the circles that there's been a lot of MLS Classics remixes, but everyone's kind of saying this one
This one is, yeah, I've heard rumors. So check that out on Wednesday. And then Thursday, guys, MLS Idol is back. And I just really, if you haven't tuned in, tune in this week because there are going to be some very special contestants who you might recognize who are not players. I'm just saying. I'm just dropping that little nugget out there for you guys to
Who are they?
Who could it be? Who could it possibly be, Jill? I don't know. I don't know. You'll just have to watch on Thursday, 7:30 p.m. on Twitter and Facebook to find out. So there you go. MLS Idol.
Yeah. Could be very embarrassing. Could be very impressive.
You never know. Yeah, sometimes you just never know. But it's going to be a good time. Either way. This was a good time. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and listening. And a big, big thank you to Kendall Waston once again.
Gave life today.
Such a fun interview. He's a really, really great character in MLS, and we can't wait to see him back on the pitch. So, guys, with that, have a fantastic week. Jill, love you, girl.
Love you too, and love all of you. See you next week.